那我先另一个轮。OK。 Hi everyone. Good evening to you all. Right.
Hello.
Hi Jay and Dennis. Welcome everyone on board again, and of course our friends online. Tonight is a very interesting night because I think we have a very great speaker and guest speaker together with us. So once again, welcome everyone to actually come online and share with us your view, and of course learning from our we call that our resource speaker, Mr. Kenneth. Later I will introduce him when we come to our itinerary. So I think for the past 5 weeks, I must say, right, this is actually our 5th episode. and in fact, today, most of us are quite busy because of the RMCO coming up. And I think most of us are actually back to office, right, guys? Yeah, I think, things are getting a bit more to what we were before. But I must say, things will get, I would say, more challenging because of the changes that has come by. And I think importantly is that we must understand that this is a time where all of us need to stick together. All right. So especially our leaders, our I would say all members on board together with our team. I think this is a very trying time, and of course a test of your patience, test of your courage, and most of all, test of teamwork. Right. So I think this is a program where we would like to bring up some messages to all friends, especially people in businesses with the families, and of course your siblings and cousins. So since the first session that we had, it was a Mandarin session. So today actually we decided to have it in English so that everyone probably can share a little bit more with more friends, and probably friends from overseas. Like CS is from Sydney, and I'm sure that he's pretty excited because I think over there is about 12:15 a.m. Yeah, and I'm sure that he's equally, I would say, excited like us because as we have done in the past 4 weeks, this is our 5th session, and we found that there's a lot of friends coming online to learn, to share, and they actually call us in private, and hopefully that we would continue with this show, and hopefully we will bring a little bit more on a different perspective from different source of speakers and different source of expertise, and of course people from all around the world. Because I think last week we have Alice and Grace, previously, and also Professor Low. I think these are the very outstanding speakers that we had in our previous show, and these are the good people and good speakers, and of course our good coaches and teachers that actually shares with us their stories, all right, and of course sharing with their experience how we handle family business in this challenging time. So today our topic, as we have picked, is about family business longevity and company law. So when we posted this topic, and I'm sure that the word company law seems a bit dry, but I can assure you later when you hear from our resource speaker, all right, company law is not that dry, but in fact it is interesting than ever. It is a topic where many people are still not quite sure, all right, about how family business can be restructured, or rather redefined in such a manner that teamwork, or rather a more harmonious working environment can put in place. All right. So I think later we will share some of this interesting topic with everyone, and I'm sure that there is a chat box at the bottom, and I'm sure that everyone can please post your questions, and of course share your view. And if there's any key, all right, if there's any keywords that you learn and you wish to share your same, I would say, view and support us, you can of course key in the keyword that you learn from us or from the speakers, because I think we would like this session to be a bit more interactive, and I think probably will stretch until midnight, I suppose. Okay, right. So let us just go through the itinerary, and I think the next session I will pass it to CS. Before that, I must introduce CS because I think he is a very entrepreneurial leader in the ceramic industry, and CS has been our good friends and our good supporter, and also a good buddy to actually support this program, because from day one until now, and our this Facebook from Zoom, okay, we upgraded to StreamYard, and he's the one that helped us from the back end. All right, tried to actually fine tune show after show, life after life, and CS is now in Sydney, and he fly to all over the world during and before MCO. So he's now like trapped at home and working from home. But of course, it doesn't stop him from continuously sharing his experience with us and bringing the good of people to our community. And CS has been in this business for the past, I think, almost 10, 20 years, and he's working with his family members. And we can see that he's a very good team supporter, not only to his colleagues, but also to his family members. And we know him by person, and he has been a very humble and yet, hardworking, I would say, youth entrepreneur that bring the positive energy to everyone surrounding him. Okay, so maybe I would like to pass this next session to CS. CS, please. Thank you.
Well, Patrick, thank you so much for the introduction. I think that's very, very nice of you to say all these nice things. Thank you very much. It is certainly 12 o'clock here. So if I'm just talking rubbish, right? So please apologize. I apologize for that. Yeah, I think it's been a great journey, since the MCO started, and then I was invited to this program. Thank you, Patrick, by the way. And I've learned a lot from this show as well. And then hopefully in the future, I can bring more content. I think all of us will bring even more content to this show. Certainly we also try to mix up with the languages, English, Chinese, 讲华语, 讲英文, even I think maybe later on some Bahasa as well, which maybe it's not good for me, but I will learn from that. Okay. Before we start before we start this show, let me introduce Patrick. Mr. Patrick Lua. He's the managing director of PLC Tax Consultant in Johor. He's a very, very qualified accountant with lots of international accreditations. Okay, ACCA, HRDF, you name it. He knows it all. He used to work for KPMG in Singapore for many years as well. I personally know Patrick for many, many years. He's far more than just a finance person. He's a great coach and a mentor to many, many businesses in Malaysia and also in Australia as well. I think he's expanding to Australia, Philippines, Cambodia, Myanmar. He's going everywhere. Okay. And then from my time with him in this stage, right, he would have been assist so many businesses. I'm sure that would be total revenue of exceeding 1 billion ringgit. Yeah. Amazing, right? Amazing guy. Apart from that, he will be one of the online superstar, I call it, when talk about finance, with lots of fans, not only in Malaysia, but around the world. You would know Patrick has shared so many shows all about finance during this MCO time. And I certainly learned a lot from him. From the same topic, even though he repeat again to different country, different viewers, every time I listen to it, I pick up something new. So that's amazing. And apart from that, I believe he's a great asset to Malaysian businesses, and also a great husband, a great father, a great son, and certainly a great friend. So thank you, Patrick. Thank you.
Thank you.
Let me next introduce my friends over here. Sorry, here. Yeah. Dennis, Mr. Dennis. To sum it all up, Dennis, he's a very, very cool guy. No, he's probably one of the coolest guys I've met. Okay, he graduated as an engineer in Singapore. He has the passion with computer like me. He works in the Singapore Power for many, many years. Big shot of career master. He's a licensed recruiter in Malaysia. Lots of connection in Malaysia. So if you're looking for the talent, any talent, right, he'll be your best man. So go to him. Okay, impressive young man. Have done a lot of interview with all the big shot as well. I believe the reason he has interviewed our Mr. Tun Mahathir, which is very impressive. Yeah, congratulations, man. Look, he's a very, very friendly gentleman with a very lovely wife, Ivy. On the side note, he knows where to find the best food and restaurant.
That's right.
If you're looking for the quality food, he's the man. He's your man.
Okay, cool.
Let me introduce my friends over here. Jay. I know Jay for a very short time since MCO. He is our youngest member in the group. I think in Chinese we call it 小鲜肉. right? Yeah.
Right.
He's a qualified accountant with more than 10 years experience. He
Yeah.
was with Intercontinental Hotel Group as well, one of the
Correct.
prestige group, which I spent a lot of time with over the last few years. He's currently working with his dad in one of the significant palm oil plantation in Johor. He also have his own business called Red Big International, assisting a lot of SME to improve their efficiency, developing SOP. So he's the guy, if you want information, he's the right person that you go to. Even though I know him for a very, very short time, he's a very smart and analytical young man, really.
Yes.
Attention to details, a young man with lots of potential. So bravo, my friend.
Cheers.
Bravo.
Cheers, Matt.
Right.
So here introduction, Patrick.
Right. Thanks. Yes, I think this is one of the most interesting introduction we ever had. Everyone is on the cloud. I think. Are you on the cloud? Okay. Anyway, thanks.
Like
Yes, for your good effort. In
Thanks,
fact,
yeah.
at 12 o'clock, you can do such a presentation or introduction. I think that is fantastic already. Okay. Right.
Thanks
I think.
for the coffee.
Oh, cool. That's right. And I think in our previous show, we would also like to recap what we did in the last session, because I think it's always important that we go back, okay, to the last episode, that what we have learned, all right, from our speaker. So I think last session we have Alice helping us to address about how we create wealth, all right, from a family business or family estates, and how we build up trust as well. And before that, we have Grace. All right, so Grace and Alice, both of them are very good in terms of the family trust and setting up investment plan for all that. All right, so maybe I would like to invite Jay. So Jay, you would like to help us to do some recap from our last session. Thank you, Jay.
Okay, thank you. Thanks, Pat. Hello, CS. Hello, Dennis, and our renowned speaker, Kenneth, at the back waiting. So just let me do a quick recap. Last week, we have Alice joining us to speak about how to create family wealth using a lot of investment tools. But before that, we do address like how in family business that we're facing the issues that they are currently facing. So we sum up a few notes here is that the business they are facing is basically the first generation are having communication problems with the second generations. So that means that the way that they address issues differently, they approach the decisions making process differently, and hence there's a lot of clashes and also a lot of arguments throughout the whole discussion process. And as a result, the communication is not always effective and be efficient. But then a lot of things that they are looking at is that maybe a lot of times the second generation, when it comes into the business, they do not have demonstrate the leadership and the qualities as well as the visions and the missions that they want to put into the effort into the family business. That actually worries the first generation, or somehow rather they actually frighten the first generation, because that they are worry that the business that they have built up since the beginning will actually vanish throughout the journey, or potentially be vanished throughout the whole journey. So I think a lot of things that now we have thank goodness that we have a lot of supports, like how Alice has been proposing, is that we have a lot of tools to help the businesses to actually be more structured. We address the issues that how this family business should be viewing as a tools rather than viewing as a family kinship that bonding the whole family together. And we would like to make sure that ultimately the family business is one of the tools that actually binds the family members to be happy and prosper together, rather than actually destroying the kinship with one another. So therefore, when professionals, there are a lot of professionals that can actually out there assist the business to be more professionally manage the family business. Whether it's all the investment tools that Alice has been talking about, like trust setting up, investment planning, and then business savings, and all these things that structure the business to move the business into a next level, or even maintaining at the right level, so that the business can be prosper together with the second generation, as well as actually grooming the younger generation at the same time to take the leadership to the business. That's how Alice has been proposing. So to create that, we have a lot of professionals, and Alice actually proposing a lot of investments strategy and tools to help the business to actually reach to that stage. So today, we are getting into a more deeper role on families plannings in terms of the wealth management, because when I say that just now, previously we have been talking about all these investment terms and strategies and structures, but now we need to look at the legality issues that actually surrounding all these issues, because without considering all these issues, we might face the problems of having go against the law. At the same time, we are actually creating disgruntled and discontentment between the families members that is working within the business. So let's focus on today and see how we are going to address these legality issues, and how we can actually revise or re-examine our current business structures, or our current family business, that are we having any potential dangers or any potential exposures to these legality issues.
All right, great. Thanks, Jay. I think that is a very sweet and short and sweet recap. I think which bring out the best of what we did last session. Okay, I think without further ado, I think we would like to proceed with our introduction for Kenneth Fu. I think he has been very patient waiting at the back room. Okay, so allow me to do a quick screen share. All right, that'll be a very short two slides. So CS could help me. CS, thanks. Okay. Right. So today our main topic for today is actually still focusing on family succession plan. All right. Which I think we will focus around the topic around company law. All right, and how this legal matters will come into the place where family business longevity will come into play. All right, and we would like to see how this would help us. All right, in terms of restructuring, or rather to redefine how a family succession plan can be done in a much better way, or rather a much more constructive way, and to ensure that the continuity, okay, of family business would actually proceed from now. And I think from there we would like to see that today we have this a special guest from our I would say my personal guru, all right, my personal friend, and I'm sure that he's not very I would say he's no stranger to all of us, because he has been conducting seminars and has been conducting a lot of courses around Malaysia or even overseas. And Kenneth has been a very good friend, and he is an accredited speaker for MIA, MISA, ICACS, and also he is a former adjunct lecturer in the University College of TAR, Kuala Lumpur, and he was formerly as a council member for MISA, and presently he is the honorary secretary of our Malaysian Corporate Counsel Association, and he has his own practice specializing on corporate solution consultant and advice, and including company restructuring and all that. And he's now actually a chartered secretary since his own practice, I think way back in 1990s, all right, until now, and he's still going strong with all his sharing and patience and all that teaching that, and we all enjoy his classes, and going to his classes is like, it's more than watching a movie, or rather listening to a story, because he has so many case studies and so many of these story and I would say examples that we can all learn. And he's actually a co-author of this Company Act 2016. We call that the New Dynamics of Company Law, which was published way back in 2017, okay, by Malaysian Current Law Journal, okay. And I think without further ado, I think we would like to welcome Kenneth to our front stage, and hopefully everyone can see him now, right? Yes, Kenneth. So sorry to keep you waiting. Right. I'm sure we have a lot of friends, all right, and our colleagues, and of course our peer practitioner on board as well. So I think Kenneth has taken his time to join us, and I'm very glad when I first approached him, he say, "Well, no problem. After dinner, anytime." So it's like a free and easy chat, and it's very kind of him to actually put his time for us to move forward with this program. And I'm very, very glad to have him here, because today's topic, why we invited Kenneth is because of his vast experience, and especially the way he present the case is very close to our heart. And of course, I think by end of today's session, everyone will probably pick up some of the idea and how we can improve in terms of our family succession planning from now. Okay, so hi Kenneth, thanks for coming. You want to say hi to everyone?
Yeah, hi everyone.
Okay, cool. Right. So Kenneth, I think before we go for a kickstart, I think we would like to probably pose a few questions to start off with our session. I think this morning we did a rehearsal. I'm sure that we have touched on topic on why is this corporate governance so important, and why is so many businesses are now looking into venues of improving their internal controls the SOP and all sorts of restructuring and all that, whatever solution that can come in to their system, or rather to come into their culture, to help them to actually improve the corporate governance part. So why is this corporate governance so important when we talk about the perspective of family business succession and all that? So maybe you have any advice for us, Kenneth?
Yeah, good evening everyone, and of course welcome to today's panel session. I guess everyone has been staying up late, and luckily today is Saturday, so I guess everybody can still remain with us to, let's say, pick up some tips here and there. And of course, why is governance now one of the so-called important issue? Because I guess from, let's say, you look at Malaysia as a country, the economy started to move, and progressively, Malaysia itself has now become more or less like, although it's called developing country, but contrast with other countries in the region, especially ASEAN region, we are more or less a little bit just below par, below Singapore, but probably in a lot of other aspects, we are probably also maybe on par with Singapore. Because Singaporean always have all this fortune and luck,
right,
with their currency and whatnot. But I guess Malaysia, although with all these so-called shortcoming and challenges, we are still very lucky to be up there. But just on that point alone, you can see that the businesses in general, what they have progressed from our grandfather time until now is that currently you can see companies, they are no longer like our grandfather time, where if you were still to recall, especially a generation like mine, I still recall going to, let's say, the normal sundry shop when my mother asked me to go and buy something from the sundry shop. Small little item that you use in your cooking or whatever. And from those times until today, you can see that those type of mom and pop shops, if you can see in Australia or in England, they call them, they are no longer viable. Most of the so-called shops are now converted into mini market. If you look at the environment around us, just a very simple illustration would be the Chinese medicine shop. In the old days, the Chinese medicine shop was just selling all these herbal products and whatnot. And then when you talk about herbal product, nobody actually know what that guy wrote in his formula or his recipe. You have to depend on him, and you'll be lucky if you don't get food poisoning or you don't get liver cancer.
Whoa.
Today, you look at the Chinese medicine shop, they are more than a Chinese medicine shop. They are combining themselves with mini market plus the traditional Chinese medicine.
That's right.
But they're no longer just stuck at the Chinese medicine shop at all. So I guess that you can see even from that small little outlet, they know the value of governance. And let's look at this normal mini market that operate as a Chinese medicine shop plus a mini market. Do they know about governance? Oh yes. But of course, governance, you and me, we know very well. But to them, probably they don't know this word governance. But if you were to ask them, do they have a system? Yes, they have a system. Number one, they have an inventory list. Number two, they know how to invoice the customer and keep track of records, because they know that if they don't do that, income tax will go after them.
That's right.
So number three, they know how to approach the bank for support.
Yes.
It's not just having a bank account. If times were to be that situation, if they really need it, they can always approach the bank for an overdraft or for another so-called term loan. Now
Right.
that is already an informal form of governance. So you can see progressing from that medicine shop to another type of industry. Yeah? Let's say workshop or a semi-manufacturing enterprise. Do they have governance? Yes, they have. They do have, because
Yes.
they must, first of all, know how to employ employees. The moment they employ employees to help them in their business, they know they need to comply with the laws again.
That's right.
And for that, they come to normal service provider like me and you, Patrick, yeah,
Yes.
for accounting services, tax services, and for me as a company secretary, yeah, to make sure that whatever needs to be reported in time, comply with the regulation.
That's right.
So therefore, you can see governance is around us, but of course, 不是真正的好像是每个人要 concentrate 听那个 word governance。
That's
不过
right.
他们也是已经在他的 system 了，他们自己管理那个公司，所以 governance 一种是管理的公司，一种 system 的管理公司，是不是？没有什么分别跟那个大的规模。So if I look at that governance issue, from today's perspective, you can see the progression of the companies. From the 1970s, 80s, well, those founders, those were the people who now need to hand over. And
That's
I
right.
think like you have mentioned and Jay had mentioned, the challenges about family-owned companies. Which are
That's
more
right.
family-owned company, because it's always the family which always, though is a foundation, a
Yeah.
supporting net, but at the same time, a net also has its own breaking point.
That's right.
That's the issue. Family are linked together, just like a net.
It's the
But a
bonding.
net always have a breaking point. You cannot be just a so-called a wall. It's a net. It's not a wall. 所以我看到especially for family-owned company, 第一问题是like Jay says, the system itself. There's always the system which is not in place. And number two, of course, always there's this transition issues whereby the founder and the first generation fear. The fear is letting go.
Correct.
So therefore, the fear will always more or less put in obstacle for the next generation, because somebody is always watching behind us. And I think for those of you who are in Chinese educated, 我看the best example would be 那个时候是乾隆皇，乾隆皇帝是不是
The
？Because
emperor.
乾隆皇this Qian Long, he didn't want to surpass his grandfather Kangxi. So therefore, at the age, when he was emperor for 60年, he wanted to step down. He passed to his son, but then he promoted himself, become Tai Shuang Huang. Now that become a problem. So today you can see, actually that's the best analogy to describe family-owned company. The founder, as long as you are still in the background, you are just the so-called grand emperor. Your son or your daughter is just the emperor in name.
Right.
Unfortunately, the second issue will be those managers. Because the manager, they know that your father is still around, they will always step over you, go directly to your father. So Qianlong, the history is such when his son take over, that transition period was something that, of course, history never mentioned. But I guess if you look at it from the practical point of view, his son definitely was, 哎呀 那个老家我还在我要什么决定，那个什么达成的 will go straight to the father and then complain about him. Same
That's
thing
right.
today is happening in all aspects when it comes to family-owned companies.
Yes.
So I guess this is always a challenge for all the family-owned companies. So what I'm going to share today, of course, we will
Yes.
have a case study about a failure story plus, of course, a success story. Yeah.
Correct.
For that, I think I will need to, let's say,
Yeah, you have the share screen. You have some PowerPoint to share with us, Kenneth. We went through just now, which is very interesting. I think it's good that probably we look at your slide and you continue with some of your sharing that we can learn more from you. Yeah, thanks.
okay. Yeah.
Yeah, it's coming up. Yeah, your share screen is coming up.
Okay.
Is it coming up? CS, is it on? Yeah, it's coming up. I think it need a bit of time to roll. Oops.
Yeah.
You try one more time, it's okay.
Yeah.
Yes, challenges. That's right. Yes.
Okay. I guess CS, I think, can you control it or you need me to control?
I think Kenneth, you can control. If you have
can
two
control it.
screens, yeah, you can control it. Just that it's blinking.
Yeah, that's no problem.
It's okay. It's okay. Don't worry. We'll continue. Don't worry. Later you stabilize.
Okay. Now, here I've set out the challenges in longevity of a company. Yeah. I think the first one, everybody recognize talent. So,
Yes,
you
yes.
in Chinese we call it 人才.
That's right.
English, you got talent seems to be like a very grand word. But
That's
I
right.
think Chinese is a much more practical word, 人才. At the
That's
end
right.
of the day, any business, you can't grow, you can't sustain your momentum without
Correct.
all these right people or the team around you, isn't it?
Yeah.
And is second one would be called operational efficiency.
Yes.
So you can see that family-owned company, especially small medium enterprises, always the biggest challenge is the so-called cost.
Cost.
Every
That's right.
day I get the feedback from client that they are facing rising costs. They don't know how to control costs.
Right.
So there's always the system issue as well. So therefore, there must be some efficiency, because once you are efficient, cost will go down. Secondly, the mindset. You see, a lot of people in the organization, if they are not attuned to cost, they are not trained to deal with cost as an issue, they will never be sensitive to cost.
That's right.
And number three, of course, decision making, like Jay just now mentioned, decision making process. So at the end of the day, what is the issue is that where leaders are supposed to solve problem, not just lead. Not put you up there or put you in the chair just to be leading or to call you a leader. There must be a so-called skill in problem solving. And I guess the last one would be probably the courage to grow. Because as we mentioned, with the founder in place, the issue is always the founder is at the background. Therefore, the founder would be like, let me see, I'm just trying to
you're going to
see how I can control.
Right. It's okay, Tenga, no problem. We'll just go with it. That's right. Yeah, courage to grow. That's right.
Yeah. No, I'm just trying to see whether I can stop the blinking. Sorry about that. Yeah.
It's okay. This on this MCO is a very challenging time because you may have like power failure. Then everyone needs to go off and then come back again. This may happen, but of course, finger crossed. Yeah. In fact, previous session we had a few session with overseas participants. They are streaming. They are streaming from China. They are streaming from Australia, Thailand, and then it's very lacking. That's why I think in order for this MCO to work, I think this internet is very important, especially Facebook. So we just imagine one day if Facebook say, okay, today I'm off 24 hours. Just imagine what will happen. Okay. Okay. Kenneth, how is it? If not, then maybe I'll share for you. I'll share for you because I think
If you don't mind, I think because I
or
think
or you
my
try one more
side
time.
here.
You try one more time and see if it works.
Yeah,
It's
I'm
fine.
trying. Yeah.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
go for if it's full screen, see how it works. No? Yeah. Yeah, it's okay. Wait for a while.
Yeah, it's still blinking my side here.
Our side is okay, Kenneth. Our side is okay.
Oh, your side is okay.
Yeah.
Okay, if your side is okay, then
yeah, you can move to the next slide.
yeah, okay.
You can move to the next slide, Ken.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, good.
Okay, fine.
It's still blinking. Okay, Kenneth,
Yes,
right now
it's
we go for plan B. Okay, plan B means I share your slide from my PC. No, wait, hold on.
Okay,
It's
okay.
now okay. It's out. Okay, never mind. Let me try. Kenneth, let me try.
Okay.
Okay, let me try. So CS, you help
Okay.
me with this. Okay, let me try. So meaning I got to share my screen very quickly. Sorry, everyone. Give me a second.
Yeah.
All right. This is always a challenge whenever we have this live show. Okay, everyone see my slide? Can see?
Yeah, great.
Okay, good. So Kenneth, it's back to you. Yes, succession planning.
Yes. And what we encounter is this: when it comes to succession family and succession planning and family-owned companies, you can see that when it comes to succession planning, actually, are we having so-called succession based upon favorabilism or merit-based succession?
Correct.
So that is already an issue by itself that any family-owned enterprise need to deal with. They got to recognize and look at the issue squarely in the face. They can't be just pretending that this is a merit-based succession when it is actually a favoritism-based succession.
Right.
Number two, of course, whatever succession that we are planning, the founder actually have to realize you will be creating sibling rivalry or jealousy. So this is always the issue. And again, just to again using the analogy of the Chinese dynasty, especially the Qing dynasty. I guess if those of you have been watching movies or Chinese drama, one of the best example of this sibling rivalry was during the time when Kangxi again, Kangxi Emperor promoted his fourth son, who became the Yongzheng Emperor.
That's right.
So yes, correct. And after the fourth son became the Yongzheng Emperor, of course, in the so-called society, a lot of rumors were started to say that actually the correct or the actual successor was the 14th, the 14th son. But then Yongzheng managed to change the character from 14 to become 4, just minus out the 1 or erase the 1.
Liquid paper.
And there was the 8th son who was again been poisoned and whatever. So all this you can see, again, just a background towards what we call succession planning. You will always find this so-called rumors or tension about sibling rivalry, or is it jealousy? Again, the founder, they got to realize these are things that will always be coming to the fore. You can't just again pretend everybody is loving to each other. So that's where we are going to talk about company law, the constitution to deal with this issue. We cannot just pretend it doesn't exist. It is always there. It's just whether it become constructive or negative or become a explosive issue.
Yes, that's right.
And number three, I guess, when you come to succession planning, you can see that at the end of the day, you will be making all this whole so-called the lieutenant, the captains of your company, those management staff and the senior management staff, they end up become bystanders, and then they may be bitterness because they will be saying that, look, 我做了这么多年了，我还不够一个家人年轻过我，现在我变得什么东西？the so-called the value, the so-called appreciation of this person's services and his experience are not being dealt with in a practical situation, in a
That's
practical manner. And then number 4, of course, succession planning. Again, you can see that in some cases where the founder or the patriarch or the matriarch are weak, they are weak. Once they hand over, they are discarded and ignored. Number 5, of course, once there's always the chain of so-called succession planning, a change of leadership, there will be change of value, there will be change of way of doing things. Now, what's so important about the change of value and way of doing things? Because you must not forget, resistance come in. That means the staff, they've been following your father or your mother. Now you come in, you bring in all this different value, different way of doing things. For the successor, you must know there will be resistance. Now, how do you deal with the resistance? The moment you deal with the resistance negatively, you will be destroying the company again. You will be making a lot of bitterness and, of course, disturbing. At the last point that I put there, you'll be disturbing the harmony and the balance that was put in place. That was so hard to build up, the harmony and the balance between everybody within the organization. So that's where I can identify. When it comes to family-owned enterprises, these are always the issue that needs to be dealt with. Not so much as the nut and bolt of the business, not so much about the quality or rather the continuity of the business or the profit track record and whatever. They must deal with these 6 issues in a very practical manner. They cannot just ignore.
Correct. Kenneth, I think you make very good representation here, because I think that one of the word that I just strike me is actually the second one. Because you see, when you look at this rivalry and jealousy, it's human, right? We see that as a human, and I see this is a very challenging thing that everyone is facing, because you see, even twins, right? Even twins, they may have different kind of background because of their schooling, or their friends circles, and even later on when they go into society and they start to work. So they develop that sort of different kind of character, and when they come together, if so happen that they are in the same family, family business, then I may say that they have different style of treating people or managing things. So I think that even sibling can may be different also. So how about like cousins? How about even some professional managers that come into this family business? So I think these 6 points are very, very truthful. And I think I truly understand this is a big challenge for most family businesses. That's right.
Yes.
That's right. So Kenneth, may I get CS to actually pose the next question for us? CS, it's to you now, CS.
Hello, everyone. I suppose, first of all, what we've discussed so far, perhaps what's really important is the corporate governance. So how can a good corporate governance policy or strategy, right, help the family business empire to move ahead and stay competitive to reach greater height? Are there any case study or family model that we can learn from? Kenneth, will you be able to share some of these with us, please, tonight?
Yeah. What I've done is I'm going to share with you a case study where we're going to look at this corporate governance that was not practiced very successfully. And I think Patrick, I need your correct.
Okay. Should I just share this Emporium Holding? Correct.
Yes.
Okay. I just put it up. That's right.
Yeah, correct. So I guess for the younger generation, especially those who are born from the 1990 onwards, probably you will never recognize this name called. Yes. Yeah, you're pretty young, I know.
Right. Of course.
Google, Emporium Holding Group was one of the biggest. In fact, it was the biggest group of so-called supermarket and department stores back in the 1980s in Singapore and Malaysia, Brunei as well. And they even went up to Hong Kong to open a branch, Emporium Holding Group. And this was started by the Lim brothers, Teochew people in Singapore one Lim Tao Yong and his brother Lim Tao Sing. I happened to meet both of them when I was secretary of one company in Bukit Bintang, which were providing services to the Emporium Holding Group. So when I joined that company, the secretarial firm company in the 1986, Emporium Holding was already in receivership. So I was just handling and liaising with the receivers and the bankers plus the lawyers and of course some of the liquidators as well. In the old day, the receiver was of course none other than Pete Mavic, which is today's precursor to KBMG.
Yeah.
So I had to be dealing a lot with their CFO as well, the CFO of Emporium Holding Group. That guy later on left the employment and went on to become a share remisier. Now, what happened in the Emporium Holding Group was they built the department stores and the supermarket. In total, at the end of about mid-1980s, they had already 52 outlets in most of the major towns in Malaysia and East Malaysia. And in Singapore, there are 20 outlets, more than 20 outlets. So the heyday was, of course, just in the 1984, 84 and 85. But 1985 was also the year in which they went down. Now, why do I relate to this case study? Because when I was appointed company secretary towards the tail end, when they were in receivership, this was what the receiver shared with me after they went through the entire records and the accounts. Number one, especially from the Malaysian side, I'm not going to comment the Singapore Emporium Holding part. On the Malaysian side, there was a MD who was in charge, but this guy, he was a nephew of the Lim brothers. So that means his father was also a cousin brother of the Lim brothers. And this nephew was promoted to be an MD. Unfortunately, he started at the top rather than start from the bottom. So therefore, if you look at the supermarket and department store business, it's never a simple thing. Even if you look at the mini market, it's never easy. You got to know merchandising. You got to know how to replace your stock. You got to know how to control your stocks, and you got to know how to manage your so-called cash flow.
That's right.
Because there's always a temptation. Every day you're dealing in cash receipts. And once you see the cash receipts come in, you will be thinking that I will just use this for a short while. Meanwhile, because I got 60 days to pay my creditors, I will use this money to branch out into other things. I'll start to expand. But once you have this temptation and you don't know how to manage your cash flow, the eventual downfall will come just around the corner. So they overget themselves, they borrow too much. And at the end of the day, there was a so-called, back in the 1983 and 84, times were bad. Economy was a bit so-called a recession. And if those of you who can recall, 1986, 1987 was also one episode where what happened was the issue of Pan Electric. In Singapore, there was a company called Pan Electric.
Yes.
Whereby our so-called one of our president of the Malaysian Chinese Association was implicated, and he actually went to Singapore to go to jail for 2 years.
Right.
So that was the time that the economy just bottomed out, and Emporium Holding Group been overget, and they did not know how to turn around. Just went to receivership. The bankers came in. So that was a very good learning lesson for me. Looking at the family-owned enterprise, number one, the MD did not have the requisite knowledge and the experience. And once you are the MD or the CEO, you are not knowledgeable about your industry. You will be depending on your middle managers and your senior manager to guide you. And that is again an indication of weakness as well. Being a leader, once you are not sound yourself, your so-called lieutenant and the captains will capitalize on your weakness.
Right.
They will capitalize on your ignorance. They will give you misleading figures unless the entire group was built upon very sound integrity systems and governance value. Which in the old day, of course, when they talk about governance, they did not have all these sort of practices at all. There was no no remuneration policy. There was no audit committee. There was just a dependent on the external auditor. And of course,
Right.
the external auditor and the company, they were having a very close relationship. Auditor did not have that sort of independence compared to now. So therefore, this was what the house of cards eventually just collapsed because of those lack of so-called governance issues.
That's
And
right.
more important, once the middle manager capitalize on your mistakes and your ignorance, the internal control system will be bypassed again. So I still recall the receiver telling me
Yeah.
that imagine when they went through the inventory, the list of things, stocks, very nicely stated this is the amount and whatever product. But when they went and did a physical check,
Yeah.
my God, they say this item, just look at it. For example, a very simple item called toothpaste. In the inventory list, you have, let's say, maybe 100 carton. But unfortunately, when you did a physical count, not even 10 carton. And then
Oh.
they started to interview the staff, the first witness. Whenever the supermarket closed down for the day, nobody inspect the employees' bags.
Mm.
So today, if you look at the supermarket, it's always at the back end. When back end, the back door there, where any employee leaving home for the night, their bag is inspected by the security guard. Make sure there's no pilferage. But in the old day, this was not put in place. Now, how did it? How come nobody did this? Because as usual, from the governance point of view, nobody give any thought about internal controls.
Mm.
Nobody know what is called risk management. The only thing about risk management they know is what? Buying insurance to cover theft, burglary, fire. That's all. So nothing about risk management from the operational perspective. Now that eventually you can see that if the employee started to so-called take things home without any guilt at all, where did they get this attitude? Because they see their manager doing it.
That's right.
You
That's
know,
right.
it is always a tone at the top, but unfortunately, it never starts from bottom up.
Yes.
A lot of people always think that, the employee are not honest. They are they are practicing a lot of dishonesty. No, no, no. They pick up their dishonesty from the top. It's never from the bottom up. So this is the issue again. A lot of family enterprises, they never realize this is what is about governance. They must know the value of a good internal control system. And this is where professionals like Patrick and me as well, we can contribute. Because I find that very unfortunately in the context of Malaysia, a lot of people who are qualified like me, charter secretary, a lot of people like Patrick's compatriot, they call themselves charter accountant. Of course, without any disrespect, they are not contributing to good governance. They are just doing their job, being a company secretary. Yeah, just do whatever meetings and minutes and whatever filing with the registrar of company. I'm just auditor. As long as they pay my fee, I don't care. I don't want to comment so many things. Now, that is not a mark of a good professional. If you are a good professional, as a good professional like me, my motto is this. I tell my client, we are here to support you to grow, to make you prosper. I'm not here to be an impediment to you. I'm here to support you. Any issue, come and see me.
Yes.
If I don't have the knowledge, I will point you to Patrick. I will point to CS. Why are you not making use of me? Some of the things I don't even charge you. If I don't have the expertise, I wouldn't be giving you a lot of bullshit and telling you that, oh, don't worry, I'll be doing this and that and then make a mess of everything. No, no. Being a true professional, whatever we don't know, no issue. We have our network. We are there to provide the support for the client to grow, prosper. That's the mark of a professional. Yeah.
Whoa, Kenneth, I think that is a very truthful advice. Not only to our second gen, not only to our first gen. I think to general public, especially people who are in the business. Like I think Kenneth, just now you mentioned about this is a negative example. There is another positive example that you mentioned in the morning. Maybe allow me to quickly swap to the another case that you would like to share with us. Maybe CS, you can help us to put up the screen again. Yeah, I think there's another case that this is the positive one. That's right. Yeah,
Yes,
CS.
this is definitely a positive one. I guess everybody in the audience here, plus even the general public,
Yeah.
whenever you hear the word YTL Corporation, I guess you can only give a salute to this organization, because this organization now headed by Tan Sri Dato Dr. Francis Yeo,
Yeah.
when he took over from his father, he has managed to grow the organization into such a organization that today it is a leading utilities provider in Australia, Indonesia, Malaysia, Singapore, and of course the UK, especially through this Wessex, water group and electricity group, and of course luxury hotels in Malaysia, especially Thailand, Japan, and Europe. And of course, it is so-called the core business is still there in terms of construction, in terms of the building industry. But yet you can see that YTL until today, they have never ventured into housing development. They have the expertise, is it? They are involved in construction. They have pre-mixed, precast concrete.
That's
They
right.
have all this building material. They are supplier of that. But why aren't they doing into housing development? Because they know their expertise is not there. They know it's a different ball game. They concentrate on areas that they have the expertise for. Now, why do I say that this is a good case study? Number one, I would say that just from a layman's point of view, because it's not like I'm a friend of Dr. Tan Sri Francis Yeo or whatever, or Yeo Tong Lei himself, or got the late Yeo Tong Lei. It's just that from a general layman knowledge, you can see that Francis Yeo, when he took over from his father, he managed to grow the company. But if you were to Google the history,
Yep.
Francis Yeo was so respectful for his father, he did not go and take over the executive chairmanship. He only assumed the executive chairmanship of YTL only when his mother passed away. I mean, Francis Yeo only became the executive chairman in 2018 after his father passed away. And you can see that from the time he joined YTL, he was more than 20 years there before and let his father continue with the executive chairman. Now, those are the things that you can see. What does it indicate? It indicates his respect for his father. That
That's
this is
right.
my father, he's the one who started the company. I value his experience. But then my father also respect me because my father put me in the CO. Therefore, I need to know what I should do. But secondly, I'm coming to that as well. My slide later on we are going to look at the traits, the character, essential character of founder. The successor to a business, especially for family-owned enterprise, and I think equally relevant. Even though it's not a family-owned enterprises, we are always talking about the next succession planning. These are the people who are coming in after, let's say, you or your predecessor. So I look at it as a success story, not in terms of how much business they have in YTL. I'm looking at this, the transition of the generation from father to son, and then the mutual respect they have between the father and son. Father still retained the executive chairman position. Son delegated the entire CEO function, so that the father got more time to focus on other things, to build the network that he needs to know, needs to know what to do. Because you can see that Yeo Tong Lei being of that generation, and of course having that wealth now, open door for him to be in touch with ministers, prime ministers,
Correct.
which you can see that Francis Yeo will never have the leverage in it. To be frank, Yeo Tong Lei could approach Tun Razak, could approach so-called Mahdi himself. You know, because he was at that level, at that experience, at that age, ma. Francis Yeo younger a bit, ma. So he will dare not go and approach, and then people will be thinking, hey, your father is still here, lah. You know, you're in charge or your father in charge. So you can see that is where I look at it. There's a very good success story. The transition, the mutual respect between the father and son.
Right.
That was really a good governance, so-called succession planning story by itself, already.
Yes,
And then, of
yes.
course, the next, in terms of so-called success story, you can see that today, YTL is not only headed by Francis Yeo, he is supported by siblings.
Right.
All the key positions, the divisions, hotel, I think is under Mark Yeo. And then I think the other type of, I think the so-called shopping malls by his sisters. And then, of course, now you can see siblings transitioning to their next generation already. That means the third generation of Yeo Tiong Lee himself. Now, how are they able to do this so well? You know, because if you were to Google a little bit, Francis Yeo makes sure that his siblings stay together with him. They have a very big house. I mean,
Right.
I won't call it a house also. A very big residential complex in, I think, Kenny Hills or something. I mean, sorry. Damansara Heights.
Yeah.
He want everybody to stay together so that they always have a quality time together as a family, as siblings, trash out issues, so that any rivalry will become a minor issue. In Chinese, we call it 大事化了小事，小事化了没有事咯。How simple is that, eh? So these are things that you can see. It's always the practicality. You must deal with things in a practical light. You cannot ignore and pretend. My brother, I already pay him so much. Why is he still jealous, or why is he still not satisfied? Human being, the heart is made of flesh. We call it in Chinese. You will never always say that my sibling don't have any envy. There is always a little bit envy, but let's not make envy to become a jealousy.
Yeah.
Because
yeah.
once envy become jealousy, there's a negative, so-called positive become negative. Envy, you should build on the envy. Why? Because envy can be tapped to become a creative, positive energy. You know, so you want to envy me, why not you work as hard as me? You get me? This is the challenge between siblings. Don't
That's
go and create jealousy. Don't ignore the envy. Capitalize on the envy among siblings and make it into a challenge for them, each and every one. I let you hate this division. You do something to show me. You do something to show me. And most important, whatever we do, let's don't forget we are siblings. Once a week, we must have dinner together, family time. Only the siblings. Don't involve our children. Don't
That's right.
involve our spouse. You can see that these are things that I think he is doing very well. So that's why I use that as a very good success story, because I think among family-owned enterprises, currently I don't see that level achieved anywhere. And
Right.
of course, if you look at, for example, a family which own a very big so-called multinational as well, who has a resort somewhere on a hilltop. I won't mention name, on a hilltop, and of course they have some ships and liners as well. And
Right.
if you look at that family, do you think they can compare with the Yeo Tiong Lee family? Of course, I don't want to mention names because we are online or whatever.
That's
So I
right.
guess
That's
this is a very good success story on that behalf. Is indeed something that we should be striving for, especially for family-owned enterprises.
Yes, thank you, Kenneth. I think that is a very, I would say, appropriate negative and positive case study for us to remember. I think after this live event, we can watch back like what you just shared. I think this is a very inspiring, I would say, example, like as you just mentioned. And I think these two cases give us a very clear picture how to become successful. In terms of family succession passing on and all that, and hopefully that when this second gen or third gen takes up the challenges, then we can actually get it even bring it to greater heights. And then from these YTL cases, we can see that siblings, we call it from Mandarin 从羡慕应该是变成仰慕 ，OK？ 羡慕变仰慕 means you actually have a greater respect for the more capable siblings who are at the more appropriate position to actually take care of the entire, I would say, family. 就是所谓的能者多劳就是我们要把这个所谓的energy to make it in such a way that this will be a case study for all, and also a positive energy for us to actually study and perhaps to promote Yeah, Kenneth. Okay. Yeah. Thanks for your sharing on these two cases. So I think this will bring up to the next area. Then I think I will pass on to Jay. Maybe Jay, you would like to pose the next question for Kenneth to enable us to learn further, on this related topic. Yeah, Jay, please. Thank you.
Okay. Hi, thanks, Patrick. Hi, Mr. Kenneth. Yes, you just now did a very good sharings in terms of the negative cases and also the positive cases. And you also talk about the strong governance. But as I mentioned, for the second and third generation, like all of us, right? What are the key traits and the qualities? Maybe let's say the 3 key traits for us to actually learn, or do we need to possess to actually to be a good successor? Because I understand that from strong governance may not be, they can only cover this much, but with the possess with the key the traits and the quality 我们讲的特质素质 that we possess, would they help us to be leveraged even more? But then when we talk about traits and then also how we actually practice it in the practical terms, because when you say, oh, you can have this, you can have this, you can have this, but how will you put all this into the real action and in the real practice in our own business?
Yeah, what I've done is, of course, I have condensed the so-called my thoughts or my perspective about these traits that the successor should have in my slide here. So, Patrick, can you maybe share my slide?
Yes, sure. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
CS, you can help us to actually put it up. Thank you.
Yeah. So, Jay, I think the first quality or what we call traits of a successor is this. I feel that this is something that I put on top of the list. They should come in, or he or she should come in, daring to fail. Because very always something that you can see very relevant in our life. Because if you don't fail, you will never know what is a success. But you don't know the taste of success. That's why 我们每天吃是甜。不过你假如每天是甜的，你不会觉得什么，你不会发觉是什么苦你不知道是什么酸的So you must not be afraid to fail. The successor must have this quality, dare to fail, because the organization is there. Your father or your mother or whatever, whoever built out the company, they have handed to you, and that company will not fail just because you fail. Unless that mistake is so fatal. But I think with your founders or your father or your mother still around, they would never allow the organization to fail. You can fail, but the company will never fail because it's still there. The platform, the support is always there. But you yourself must have this attitude. I will do things that I'm not afraid to fail. Because if you have it, if you are the successor, you come in, you are afraid to fail, that means you don't know how to succeed already. That's the first thing. And then the second thing, being a key quality or trait of a successor, once they come in, they must know what is the meaning of respect. Respect must be earned, not demanded. So I think that when it comes to this issue or this trait, we always find this feedback from my clients. From who? From their staff. These are the staff who will give us the feedback. From me as a practitioner and a professional, I always get this sort of feedback. My boss put in his son, and the son come in, demand respect. They want me to follow him. They want me to not question him. Now, that is already a very bad way of starting off a relationship between the successor and those people who are around you. Unless the successor come in, you start on a clean plate. That means you dismiss all the staff. Every staff is now employed by you only. All become new. But you will never be successful. The organization cannot be rescued anymore if you start on that base. You can never start with a clean slate. Every time a successor or succession planning is in place, you can see the next generation come in. You have to inherit whatever is good, whatever is bad. You will never have a clean slate to start. So therefore, the first, second thing you must know is how to earn respect and not demand respect. And the third one, of course, a little bit similar to dare to feel, is the word dare to change. Here, if you look at the so-called qualities or traits, why do I say dare to change? Because I think a lot of successor, especially family-owned enterprises, what happens is that the son or the daughter come in, if they have this attitude or expectation that I better don't disappoint my father or my mother, they are going to fail. They must not live up to their father or mother expectation, because they must not let their life be dictated by their father or mother's expectation. They must create and think of their own expectation, not think of their father or mother expectation. That is again another recipe for failure as a successor, because you must never go back and think about what my father expect me to do. No, then you'll be putting obstacle in your own way as a successor again. How are you going to create your own plan? How are you going to create dynamic changes around you? You can't. So you got to know, dare to change lah. And I guess the number 4 point or trait is this. They must balance experience with new mindset. What is that about? 什么东西来？什么 balance experience？因为最重要是你是 successor，你进来那个公司那个 organization，还有那个老将军嘛，all those lieutenant and captain, they are still there. Their experience can never be bought.
Correct.
But we must balance that with new mindset. So that means the challenge is always creating your own team, balancing the old general with the new lieutenant now, so that the teamwork can bind together and so-called have their own succession planning as well and transition. Because you must also more or less make them realize the Lao Jiangjin, the old general, that thank you very much. I appreciate what you have done so much for the company. But I am now new. I will be bringing change. But I need you. But at the same time, I want you to help me to teach the younger generation. So Japanese company have this, built-in so-called transition. That's why they always value the seniority of the employee. But at the same time, they know from their experience and their perspective that they cannot always depend on the old generation to run the company. They must always have a transition. So this is what I mean by balancing experience with new mindset. And last but not least, of course, most important, you come in, the company built up by your father or your mother or by the predecessor. The most important is, of course, to maintain the integrity and build upon the success. Don't treat the success of your predecessor or your father and mother as history. The success must be built upon. So this is where the successor must learn what is the meaning of integrity. So when you talk about integrity, I think this morning, I think we had a sharing with Patrick and CS.
Yep.
I don't know really how to do it, coin it, because I told Patrick to consult his consultant, who is very good at Mandarin, but I can only repeat in Cantonese. I hope those in the audience know a little bit about Cantonese. In Cantonese, they call it ngā qī tong kam sai. That means whatever you say, you must honor. That is how you earn respect from your stakeholders. That means, although I'm a successor, I come in, I must make sure, just like YTL, when he came in to take over from the father? Did he ask the father to go out? No. He let his father continue to assume the executive chairmanship because he needs his father to go around networking with the senior politician, networking with all the so-called old contractors. They are the one who have supported YTO all those years. You cannot just discard the old contractor and say, we're getting new contractors. You guys are all follow my father generation. I don't want you. I want my own contractors. No, he never did that. Those are the contractors who provided the backup. Those are the suppliers who continue to supply even though times were bad. I'm sure YTO has its up and down as well in the building industry. No industry will never encounter turbulence. Any industry will encounter turbulence. So this is what I mean by maintaining the integrity. Yeah? Honor your word. Because your father and mother or the predecessor honor their word, that's where they build up their relationship and their networking with the suppliers and the stakeholders. So please do that, but build upon that success. Generate your own networking. Yeah, I think
Right.
that's the key trait of a successor.
Thank you, Kenneth. I think this is a very good sharing, and we talk about key qualities. I'm sure that there will be exhaustive lists of quality, but these are the key.
Sure.
Yeah, these are the key one which I totally agree with Kenneth, and I'm sure that Jay, actually, I think the second session or the first session you mentioned about related topic about this, because I think I recall that you mentioned when you actually help out with your family business. You need to actually build a better, or rather continue with a relationship with the supplier. So I think just now Kenneth mentioned the word which is what we call in Mandarin 信用. 我们要讲信用, or we honor our word, and this is how we actually build on our fathers or parents' legacy in order for us to carry on with our family business. So maybe Jay, you want to share a little bit on this part just to recap? Yeah, Jay.
Wow, it has been quite some time.
Yeah.
I remember upon continue the relationship is basically we have to make sure that we have to engage them with the ways that they used to be. But we are not trying the new ways of doing things, because I remember what I mentioned before is that there's the old ways of doing things, means I decide things by using telephone and words. There's no black and white written things. But if you're trying to use the new ways, especially I believe that Kenneth can be as a charter secretary, you always say better write down, or we as a professional, you always say black and white is most important. But how are you going to engage with your supplier means that I've been doing business with you 40 years. I never even signed a contract with you before. And how are you now? You are making me signing a contract. What is that supposed to mean? So therefore, I believe that the way of continuity of the relationship, you need to actually harness the technique that your predecessor has already been doing, and you continue to manage this technique in a very, I would say, graceful way, and or even a better way until such time that maybe their successor, their second generation or third generation successor brings up that topic of issues. I believe is there something that you can further add on from that, Kenneth?
Yeah. I guess this is where we can see that when we talk about the so-called integrity, there's also what we call the integrity estate. And integrity is always part of governance as well. It's one of the cornerstone of governance. Rightly, when Jay, you mentioned, especially when we are talking about a company like CS, now approaching 100-year anniversary. And Jay, you're taking over from the previous generation. And all those so-called suppliers or the stakeholders, in the old day, they didn't really have all this formal so-called agreement or contract. Even until today, you can see a lot of businesses are still done that way. Until, of course, there is a so-called breakdown in the relationship, and that's where, of course, the lack of all this sort of black and white or the documentation create a problem in court, especially. But notwithstanding that, you can see if a business or enterprise were to start going to court, it really signals there is no so-called hope for repairing that relationship. Because if I were to look at, let's say, my grandfather's time or my father's time, did anybody actually go to court? No. They met up at the kopitiam there, discuss, sort out, trash out the issue. I can't pay you, never mind. Give me longer term, I will pay you. And they really paid them off. So those were the days. But today you can see a lot of things are being done using, I would say, not using the so-called brain 不是用头脑了，用心。And unfortunately 用心做事the sin, the heart will be full of fire. That means everything become hasty, impetuous. Temper comes in. That means you are not using common sense to know what to do. Instead of having a so-called arbitration, of course in today's world we call it arbitration, but in the old day we call it negotiation. Now even the word negotiation been displaced by the word arbitration, which is again something grander. So I guess that notwithstanding whether there's a formal agreement or not formal agreement, it's always that mutual respect between the company or the organization with the stakeholders. Whether there's a generation, there's a succession going on, whether there's a transition from the one manager to another manager, it is the relationship with the so-called suppliers and the stakeholders which must be maintained. And how do you maintain that relationship so that it doesn't have to go to court, so that we don't have to go and dig up our records and see whether we got an agreement or proper paper to drop such a relationship.
That's right.
The word is integrity, So the moment we are able to sit down, discuss things in a rational manner, laying point by point, acknowledging that I owe you, but I'm now in a bad situation. Can we, let's say, solve this problem? Going to court does not solve any problem.
That's right.
Because going to court, most of us know the only person who earns all the money will be the lawyer. And today when you look at MCO already, I'm getting feedback from my lawyer friends that they are clients who started a suit before MCO, now coming to MCO under recovery period. Their client now come and tell them, can you please withdraw the suit? I have no money to fight anymore.
That's right.
And they are the one who are suing the other party for owing the money.
Correct.
Now you see, if you are at that stage and you know that to go further on to fight and try to make the other party pay you, why did you have to go to that stage? Why couldn't we sit down like a rational person, deal with the issues? Okay, never mind. You owe me. How long do you want to pay me back? Secondly, how can I support you? And this sort of you can see networking, not only between you and me, it's also between me and my upstream also as well.
Correct.
So there's always this multi-level negotiation going on that will generate better goodwill to each other. Because everybody knows this current situation. That's why I say it's actually very good that this COVID-19 came in and has turned everything to become a positive generation change and as well as a mind change as well. Today if you look at it, especially audience and our group here, before MCO, if you were to ask an employee work from home, I guess I think your compatriot, those who are in the industry will be laughing. 你可以相信的给你的员工在家里工作，他会做咩？But today MCO, you got to do it. You got to trust your employee.
Correct.
You got to know how to delegate. And there's already another building factor, That means from this outcome of this COVID-19 pandemic, you can see that the businessmen in general, they know they must delegate. They cannot have a mistrust. They must not have this mistrust of their employee. We must follow the Western style. The Western style, they've been delegating to their manager all the time. Asian companies dare not delegate because they're scared of losing control. This one is always the issue. Whether you're talking family-owned company or non-family-owned company, the founder or the top managers are feared of losing control to the younger manager. But with COVID-19, with this, you can see the delegation have to be done so that people can work from home. Secondly, I can see that I can see the feedback now. Some organization, they're actually doing alternate. Today, this staff come in. Tomorrow, the other staff come in. The first staff on the first day work from home. There's this alternate so that you don't get everybody crammed in the workplace, and then one fella got a positive infection, the whole company will be closed down for 14 days. And then the company have to incur costs to pay the government to test everybody inside the organization. My God, there's more expensive than asking them to work from home, is it? So I guess this is something that is always positive from every point of view. We can see that working from home is no longer a luxury, no longer an option. It is the reality now. Just like today meeting, we are using all sorts of technology, Zoom, MS Team, and even today, we are using this StreamYard. Extremely fantastic. This is how Malaysia and of course Sydney as well will be moving forward.
Thank you, Kenneth. I think on this last note that you mentioned relating to this, we call it the key qualities of successor, like what Jay has mentioned. I think I would just like to add on one of the key qualities to the successor is actually to learn how to trust people. All right, learn how to put on a bit more faith. All right, faith and trust in people that they work with. And of course, just now I think Kenneth also mentioned about having a structure or having some sort of KPI in all that. So I think this is something that we need to keep that close to heart and learning how to trust and learning how to work together in a more harmonious manner. Okay, right. So I think we come to the next question that I think most of us would like to learn from you as well. I think this part I would like to pass on to Dennis, because Dennis has been working with many multinational companies. Actually, Dennis has been working with many multinational companies all over this region, even I think internationally as well. And I think he has seen many examples and many professional managers being recruited or being removed or being reallocated. And he is actually a very good consultant and very experienced advisor on this area. Probably, I think I would like to hand to him to probably share with us his next question. Yeah, Dennis, that's up to you now. Yeah.
Thank you, Patrick, for the quick intro. Kenneth, thank you so much for sharing so much insights and bringing a lot of Asian corporates into light, especially this time when you mentioned about the Asian corporates are still very much holding on power and not really wanting to delegate. Because for me, I have been dealing both with the SMEs, the well-capitalized SMEs in Malaysia, as well as, of course, our MNCs and GLCs. And we can see that, I mean, me in putting myself in that kind of position, I can see two different picture. It can be quite perplexing sometimes. Although I'm not even talking about the market cap of these two companies. If I put them in comparison, but it's completely different culture altogether. So I do agree with you that the fact that a lot of the GLCs and even the MNCs, the corporate culture is completely different from the SMEs. Although the SMEs, they themselves are doing very well, but it's somewhat what they really probably need is a lot of like what they say, professionals, professional advice from corporate secretary like yourself on corporate governance and as such to sort of like make their corporate more sustainable. I think that's the right word in the longer term. Back on this, I'm just asking, right, like in terms of company structure, what are the key areas we need to redefine if you want to be successful in business succession and transformation, or in short, make the corporate more sustainable.
Yeah, Dennis, for that, I also prepare a slide to set out my so-called perspective and viewpoint. So,
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
I guess when it comes to this so-called enterprise, whether you call it MNC or family-owned enterprise or SME, whatever it is, when it comes to implementing change, I guess everybody within the organization must realize no man or woman is bigger than the organization.
That's right.
You can see that one of the biggest, most relevant example, or to draw example, would be look at Apple. Without Steve Jobs, did Apple fail? Did Apple went through any so-called stumble? No. Even though Steve Jobs was not there, today's Apple is still a big success story. You know, their products are highly sought after, and their so-called innovative products are still being so-called leading the so-called market. So therefore, everybody must be made to realize no man or woman is bigger than organization. You are part of the organization. So therefore, there must be a system and structure which must so-called, I would call it the bedrock of sustainability and creativity. 所以最重要是那个 system 跟那个 structure. And when we talk about system and structure, very simple things that can be done. For example, for family-owned enterprise or small medium enterprises, whatever level they are at, the first thing, very simple, have a proper remuneration policy. When I talk to my client, I think always the issue is this: ask them this year for your staff, how much bonus are you going to pay them? They use a very simple yardstick: 1 month, half month, 2 months. Now, if you have this sort of reward system, you can see you're rewarding those people who do well versus those people who do well. Now, is that a so-called proper way that you remunerate people who help you to build up the success and the business, the people who bring in the profit? There must be a measurable criteria. So this is what we mean by, again, the second thing. Because with the proper remuneration policy, you next create a system called KPI, setting key performance indicators for the managers. You know, whatever level you are at, if you don't know how to set KPI, that means they are just blindly 没什么了。我以前我的爸爸是这样做，我现在照样这样做了 ，continue 你了。Now that means you yourself never create your own expectation. That means you don't even know how to set your own KPI. Then what do you expect your managers or your so-called assistant to do? They don't know. They'll be just continue doing, try their best, 尽量了，尽量了。Now that is not a way to grow a company. You know, everybody must be made to realize what they must achieve, and if they fail, doesn't matter. There must not be a penalty for failure, but there must be a momentum from that failure to know what must be done to rectify the failure, overcome the failure. Then everybody feel appreciated. So this is what I mean by the system and structure. Just a very simple thing, starting with remuneration policy. And then number two, of course, we look at especially like the employment terms and conditions. Again, from my perspective, the client, they will be asking me, if let's say they have an employment issue with the staff, how should they deal with the staff? That's when I realized that what is happening? Why aren't they reviewing and looking at those terms and conditions of employment? When they ask me those questions, I am really unable to give them a very good guide, because when it comes to Malaysia, Employment Act only apply to employee below 2,000. Anything above 2,000 depend on your contract or service. But when it comes to the word contract service, our SME have been usually giving a letter of employment, and then of course maybe after probation and a letter of confirmation. But after that, as the years go by, they never have any change to that term and condition of employment. So therefore, the expectation employee, expectation employer will never be reconcilable. There's always a distance and a gap growing as the years go by. So now this is what I mean by the system and structure.
Right.
And the third one, of course, to modernize the management, they must a successor, whatever level or organization that you're entering, whether we call it GLC, MNC, or SME, whatever level, whatever market capital or capital that the company has, the successor who comes in must be able to modernize management by adopting all this sort of governance value and principle. Now, how do we do that? I guess the first thing is that, for example, the very simple thing again, modernizing management, of course, by having a board of directors where they know they need to delegate. Secondly, being a board of directors, they must have a business plan. Again, I find that the weakness of most of the SME plus family-owned company 没关系了，我的爸爸已经做了这么多年了，我照样这样做了，我们不会改变什么东西了。Now the moment you say 你不要改什么东西you are also heading down the road for failure, because day in day out we know there are competition coming out. This COVID-19 pandemic is a very good example already, that you can see competition now arising already. People losing their job, they got no choice. They have to start their own business. So that's why for Patrick and me, COVID-19 is another opportunity for us to guide all these new people coming out to set up their own business, because they got no choice. When you come to the wall, you got to know how to turn or jump over the wall, so to speak. So therefore, if you don't modernize your management, you're letting your competitor overtake you in the long run. You will be again, in Chinese we call it 淘汰. You'll be overtaken by your competition. So you got to dare to change. And when you talk about modernizing management, this is where your board of directors or even you as at the board of director level, you must know what is a director supposed to do. Is the director supposed to be doing everything? Then you're no better than the employee. Then why call yourself a director? A director must lead. Number two, a director must have a roadmap for their employee, for the organization. Without a roadmap, your employee are clueless, they are leaderless, they don't know what to do. They're just doing the routine stuff. But your company will never jump to the next level, can never jump to the next level. So therefore, that's what we mean by modernizing management.
That's right.
And last but not least, I think is about developing the software or beyond the hardware. 那个是什么东西 Developing software meaning the soft skill, Very simple. If I come in as a leader, inheriting from my predecessor or from my parent, the first thing I need is, of course, to build up my team first. At the same time, like I say, retaining the old talent, but generating the new talent, transitioning the experience from the old talent to the new talent. How do you do that? By having a very simple thing called a strategic retreat. Of course, in today's world, we call it brainstorming session. But 我不要用这么大的字母 brainstorming session. A very simple retreat. Just a 2-day, 1-night trip to Pangkor Island or Tioman Island. We don't have anybody disturbing us. Let's have a good, relaxed atmosphere. We trash out things. We know that I'm now in charge, but I need your support. At the same time, I don't want you to think that I depend on you. I'm here to lead you. I need your support as well. So you don't go and press down yourself on them. We are here together like this, not up versus down. There should not be all these forces between up and down. It should be always coexisting, a relationship. So there's the software part. The hardware, of course, is the resources now. How do we build our resources? Should I look at my financial resources, let's go and talk to the bank. Let's go and talk to Patrick, my auditor and my accountant. Where can I find the savings from my taxes? Where can I find a better infrastructure to modernize my accounting, my system, my financial management of company? Then I will be approaching Patrick to give me some guide. And this is also relating to modernizing management, because today I'm again encouraging my client. Very simple, modernizing management. Number one, every year have a budget. 有一个 budget 预算案。那么你知道明年我们做那个生意I can measure the variable now. What is my shortfall? Where do I need to improve on? Where do I need to allocate resources? The moment I encounter obstacle, where do I draw the resources from? Where should I cut the cost? 每天 all the businessmen complain about cost. No profit. They must be to realize the moment you control your cost, you're making profit. Anything extra, bonus already. So it's always the challenge, how to control cost. That is the challenge. Not about profit, it's about cost. Once you got the efficiency, your cost will go down per unit. That's where your next level of profit comes from. So this is the meaning of modern management by practicing, putting in a budget system, preparing a budget for next year. So 明年那个 budget October 一定要拿出来，全部人家同意了。Okay, this is the budget. This is the estimate. These are the assumptions we are putting in. Okay, then everybody have their own KPI already. And then number two, look at the terms and employment. Why isn't any company thinking about HR? The human resource part. Whether a company is big or small, it needs a viable human resource unit. Now, how do we do that? Have an employee handbook. Sort out everything inside the employee handbook. Secondly, have all the policy in place. The moment you have a policy, for example, in terms of policy, the first thing you look at our current section 17A, 那个什么 corporate liability provision 很厉害。那么每个人 in our company now knows that bribery and corruption is a big issue. Anybody doing that will immediately be caught and getting our organization, going to so-called liability issue. So have everybody declare, give a pledge of integrity. There's always all these simple things that we've done. Doesn't cost a single cent. So that's when I would say would be some practical parts towards this. Yeah.
That's right. Thank you, Kenneth. I think this is a good, I would say, summing up on all that challenges and all that. But of course, I think, Kenneth, you have a few more slides actually. I think where you actually touch on this legal aspect.
Yes, correct.
Governance.
Yeah.
Maybe because of the time constraint, probably, Kenneth, you would like to quickly, probably on the key points, probably share with us this slide that you prepared.
When it comes to legal aspects of governance, I guess none other than, of course, having your own team of competent and qualified corporate advisor. This one, any company, whether big or small, they have to have a core team. Accountant, auditor, tax agent, company secretary, and the lawyer as well, or what you call the legal practitioner. And then secondly, I think constitution is something that, 那个公司的章程, a lot of SMEs, small enterprises, they ignore the 章程, the constitution. But that is a very important document because in there you can embed all these structures to have all these dispute resolution. That means how to control the disputes between shareholder and director, between even directors themselves. And then, of course, very important for family-owned enterprises. Again, like I say, we cannot prepare, there's no problem. We must deal with the problem. And how do you deal with that? Whether you're the founder or the next generation, have a proper agreement, especially when it comes to siblings. Make sure everybody know their position, or what we call in Chinese, their 岗位. There must be a so-called documentation on that aspect so that there's no dispute about that. So that everything is clear and transparent. And last but not least, I think estate planning, a lot of organization, never take into account all these estate planning issues, especially family-owned enterprises. What about trust? What about share capital restructuring? Maybe even will or financial planning. There's always these things. Which are they? But I guess everybody is too busy with trying to make a profit or survive. That they ignore this one. But the reason why you are struggling to survive is because you don't have all the governance structure.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I think this is all the governance issues relating to what I think just now Dennis has actually asked about this structure, business structure, company structure. We call that the shareholder structure, which is the agreement, and even the siblings and siblings and the professional managers sitting in on the seats of this management board. I think these are all interrelated, as I say. So yeah, so Dennis, anything else to add on or responding to Mr. Kenneth sharing on this part, Dennis?
I think Kenneth has shared quite a lot on the all this
Yeah,
structure and regard in respect to company structure
yeah,
because I think also very good. Kenneth touched on a lot on the how would I say the software part as well.
correct,
Because
correct.
I think that not only applies to such as second gen or family business. Because like for myself, right? I mean, I'm a founder of my own company, so I don't have the problem of second gen and third gen. Thank God.
That's right.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, correct. It is a challenge, and of course, I don't have the advantages also. So what I'm saying here is that sometimes you have to be appreciative of where we are, and
That's right.
then yeah, I mean, especially for second or third gen, be appreciative where you are, and then build on it. And I think Kenneth has brought a few good example like YTL, and even the Corp family is also a very good example. I think a few years ago I spoke to the Robert Corp's elder brother. I think at that kind of age, he's still talking about the brotherhood and the bonding and the family relationship he has. So I'm really impressed. So that kind of family sibling, if there's no rivalry, if it's cooperation, is a very formidable strength for the corporates. Yeah. Thank you, Kenneth, for sharing. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, thank you, Dennis. In fact, I think in my record, I think Kenneth has got one more slides, which I think it was a quote from William James and our this ex-US President Obama. Maybe CS, you would like to put it up. Maybe Mr. Kenneth can share with us his
Yeah,
view on
just
it.
to, yeah, just to to round up our discussion today.
Yeah,
As far as I found that these two quotes were quite inspiring. The great use of life is to spend it for something that will outlast it. So I guess that whether man or woman, how much time you are here on earth, I guess do something that will leave a legacy, to cut it short, leave a legacy.
that's right.
I always try to make a joke in my talks. I
Yeah,
say, all I need to do is just make sure that one day, if I'm not around, somebody come and talk to my daughters and say, your father in his lifetime was a good man. That's all. That's all I need. I
yeah,
really appreciate that because it leaves my daughter feeling so happy that
yeah.
somebody commented and praised their father. I don't want somebody later on to go near my tombstone and just spit on my tombstone. My God, what kind of legacy do I have in that?
Oh God.
I have not built a legacy. How much
Uh,
money I made. I did not leave a legacy for my daughters. And then I think if you can look at Barack Obama, again, it's very inspiring, isn't it? Someone
yes,
once said that every man is trying to live up to his father's expectation and make up for their father's mistakes. That is also that why I included that inspirational quote. Because
that's right.
for family-owned enterprises, a lot of time I think I find that this next generation tend to be thinking that they need to live up to their father's expectation. That will
Right.
always be like a burden. So 每个人呢不可能有一个负担，you cannot
Yeah.
go and yeah, correct. You cannot go and come into life with a, what we call a so-called a burden on your back, a baggage on your back. You must discard the baggage on your back and create your own road in life, lah. Yeah.
That's right. That's right. Well, I think that is great sharing from our this Mr. Kenneth, which I think he has so-called sum up all his experience and actually give us all his insights. And actually, Kenneth, I think on your sharing, I just want to probably invite our friends here, especially the furthest away from us, which is CS. Maybe CS, you would like to sum up your understanding and all that. Then before we actually move on to the Q&A, maybe we start from you first. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
hi, Patrick. Thanks. Kevin, it's been a pleasure having you. I've taken down a lot of notes today, and I saw so much to learn. Because it's such a big topic, even we touch on the corporate governance. I think this is one of the very, very important aspects of to let the company grow. And then there's at least there is a dictionary or a Bible that everyone can go to and say, hey, this is the way to move forward. Or, what is right, what's wrong, when it's clear in everybody's mind, right, it's easier for them to work better for the company,
That's right.
working for the company, not against the company. So yeah, thank you very much. That's very good. Thank you.
Thank you, CS. I think maybe we can move on to any Q&A from our audience actually, because I'm very grateful that we can still have about, I think, 80 of us still staying online. Not easy, because it's like we are now watching, like midnight movie, like Jurassic Park Part 5. I think next month we can all, the cinema is open. I'm not sure who will be the first one to buy the ticket. Maybe Jay and Dennis, you may want to help us to see whether any question posed on the chat box.
I didn't see any. I didn't see any.
No,
Not yet.
there's no question posted. I think everybody was just indulging.
That's right.
That's right. Great.
Yeah, that's why
it's quite comprehensive. Yeah.
That's why when we begin this show, that's why I was saying that, and listening to Kenneth is really, it's more enjoyable than watching a drama series. Yeah. Okay. So maybe Jay, you want to share your 1 minute kind of sum up on what you learned and what you have probably feel from this today's sharing. Yeah. Jay.
Can. Yeah. Thanks, Patrick, and thanks, Kenneth, today for your sharing. And it's been very wonderful and very comprehensive. To me, is also a big load to digest as well. The fact that we have a lot of things to learn. I mean, for audience, I think probably is a lot of things to learn from the perspective on how we integrate our strong governance and internal control.
Yeah.
And how we leverage it and use it in our family business. For the fact that I know we all used to be an employee of for the external corporation, we all know that it's always follow SOP and whatever says by the company. But now now we have Kenneth to re-emphasize this, that we can actually put the same thing in our family business to make it work as good as other corporations work, because they will always think that outside they all do is the best, and then whatever in our family business is all very messy and things like that. But of course, for those who actually know all these things throughout all the way, it still serves as a gentle reminder, because for the fact that a lot of times we may lose our own ways when we indulge in our family business. Maybe somehow rather we forget that this is how we should practice with our predecessor, especially to be exact, is our parents. It also served me as a reminder that for myself as well, because I may trying to do things all the right, but sometimes I may actually lose touch and lose the track for not respecting this throughout the way. And then it should serve as a good guide and a reminder for myself and for others to actually re-examine this situation again and make it a better down the journey next road.
That's right. Wow. Thanks, Jay. I think you have just summed up very, very beautifully. Yeah. So next, Dennis, I think you may also wish to probably express some of your learnings and thoughts for the day. Yeah, Dennis.
I think very full session I have with Kenneth supposed to meet you all earlier this morning, but unfortunately couldn't do so. If not, it will be even better if I could got to know you earlier. Yeah, it was a pleasure to have you on our show today.
Yeah.
Thank you, Kenneth.
Thank you, Dennis.
Thank
I
you.
think as we speak, sir, I think there is one question that just came up from Vincent. Hi, Vincent. Thanks for posting this. Probably I just read out your question here. How relevant on this or valuable is this goodwill? If accounted in the balance sheet now during these modern business times. Yeah. So maybe Kenneth, you would like to probably share your view on this question on goodwill. business goodwill, huh?
Yeah, business goodwill. Vincent is actually my mentor in the Toastmaster fraternity. I call him my seafood because he has, in that so-called, he's a distinguished Toastmaster who until today is still very passionate about Toastmastering. He has chartered so many clubs. He has mentored so many mentees who went on to become distinguished Toastmaster, except, of course, probably a failure like me. I'm not be able to reach the distinguished Toastmaster level yet.
Humble of you, Kenneth, very humble of you.
No, because I don't have the time
Yeah,
to really go out and so-called develop clubs and lead other clubs. But thanks, Vincent Sifu, for the question. How relevant or valuable is goodwill accounted in the balance sheet in these modern business times? Well, I think this question is from two angles. One is, of course, goodwill in terms of the figuratively speaking, from the accounting point of view, it's just a figure that you put in whenever you take over business from another business. Therefore, when it comes to, for example, succession planning and family-owned enterprises, goodwill never arises. Goodwill is actually from accounting. If I'm not wrong, Patrick would correct me.
Yeah.
Goodwill only arises if you're going to take over another business. In your own company, in the moment you build up your own company, you started from scratch. Until to this level, there will never be any goodwill appearing in your accounts. But when I say goodwill, also I have to take into account the other factor, not about the ringgit and cent, but now about goodwill within the organization. Now, this goodwill, of course, to me, very simple, coined into two words that I've used in my slide: harmony and balance.
Wow.
The word harmony and balance. See, every leader, whether we are talking about old generation, the previous generation, or the next successor, the challenge is always trying to maintain the harmony and balance within the organization. Just like I think in life, from a scientific point of view, we can never have everything in acidic. They must always have an alkali. Everything become acidic, then it will be really so-called really what we call acidic. Everything will corrode very fast. But if you have always everything in alkali, that means there's no reaction. Alkali is always the soft one. So
That's
always when you have alkali and acidic, then you got a balance, pH balance. That is exactly what I'm trying to achieve again. When I look at that word goodwill, I'm trying to say that from the soft side as well, harmony and balance is always a challenge in every organization. We will always find conflict. But as I mentioned just now, use conflict to turn a negative to become a positive. Use conflict to drive things. Use conflict to become constructive, generator of creativity. Not just let conflict become festering. Just like you cut a hand, you don't attend to it, you become injured. That injury that you cut on your finger here, slowly bacteria goes in. Sooner or later, you will lose your finger if you don't attend to it. So it's just like that. I think conflict in the organization is always there. Just like Jane mentioned, when you took over from your father's business, and then you were actually trying to find your way. And until today, I believe, Jay, you are still trying to find your way and build upon a better success than your father. Yes, but don't let that be a drawdown. Don't let that become a demotivator. Use that as a motivation to move forward. And if you think that you can't do it alone, then you know that you have to open up. You have to really humbly say, I am not up to expectation, but doesn't mean I give up. Don't give up. Instead, draw on the resources around you. You got friends now, so let's network together, build upon that, and never become a negative factor anymore. Then you only can go forward. Is it? So, my Sifu Vincent here, that's how I would answer this question on goodwill.
Right. Thank you, Sifu and Sifu. There are two Sifu. Any one of you guys, you want to share your view on goodwill? Anyone? Quick one. Anyone? No. Okay. Then let me try 1 minute now very quickly. Because of time constraint, we are now extended midnight show. Okay. To me, goodwill is between two person. Okay. If we put like accounting aside, okay, when two companies come together or someone buy over or merge, this goodwill is between two party. If A comes to B and say, okay, let's merge or let's buy over, all right, then to A, who is the acquirer, there may be a goodwill if they see a value in B, all right. But then come along C come and say, hey, I want to take over B also. But then C is probably another person, say for example, venture capitalist or whoever who see value differently, all right. Okay, then they may or may not have this so-called goodwill exist. So it depends on two party. So like our Sifu mentioned, thank you, Kenneth and Humbert. thank you, Sifu, sharing Sifu's comment. So basically, in my point of view, goodwill is actually a chemistry between two parties when they come together and whether they see value in each other. Or now, if there is, then thank you so much, congratulations. You found your love, all right? You found your second love, all right? Love of being together and be able to create greater value, after you merge. So that's my point of view, all right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So any more questions on the chat box, guys? Any more? If not, then I think because I have some slides to show, because of time constraint, probably just let me do a quick one. All right.
Yeah,
Yes.
sure.
Let me do a quick one because I think. I have done a very quick so-called slide from our learning today. Okay, quick one. Okay. In fact, I think today we have a few questions here, and I think we have got all the answers. All right, that our mentor, our Sifu, Kenneth, had actually shared. So the first one was why. All right, why corporate governance is important. When we talk about family succession planning. So actually we learned about there are favoritism, there are weaknesses. All right, in our corporate, we call that world where there is an inherent weaknesses and there are risks. So one of them is like what we call favoritism or preference, all right, among siblings or cousins as a norm, because we are all human, all right, we have emotion, all right, so this is one of those things. And of course, the second one will be the structure of our corporate reporting system that we mentioned just now. And third one, appraisal, all right, KPI, reward system, all right, which I think Kenneth has mentioned. Then the fourth one, we also talk about whether can we use, the preference shares and allocate certain rights to actually address all these weaknesses during the allocation of, this so-called the share structure. And then the fifth one will be the involvement of family members in management matters. Whether would it be a fair system like what we learned from Emporium, all right? Whether did we put the right person on the position where on the pilot position where they drive or steer, all right, the company to greater heights. So I think these are some of those corporate weaknesses that I think Kenneth has pointed out. Then the second question, we talk about how. Okay, how a corporate governance policy could actually help a business to move ahead, to stay ahead of competition. So the case study that we learned was we call it the Emporium and the positive case of YTL. All right, so meaning not just merely follow, but instead the second generation should build on. All right, build on your parents or the your parents we call it legacy, and be innovative and dare to actually fail. That's what I think Kenneth has shared just now. So the third one will be talking about the traits, the quality. All right, I think this was the question posed by Jay, and I think this is very important as well, because we need to learn that there are qualities that we need to actually dream big and be there to fail, because only when we fall down, then we learn the sweetness of success. Okay, 不跌倒不成长啊，不跌倒不会长大。Right. So we got to drive ourselves out from the comfort zone. All right, and of course the leading person in the family must of course recognize the chemistry of teamwork. I think this is something important. Then the fourth one will be we need to continuously, like what YTL did was they actually had they stay together or close to each other, having we call it regular meeting. All right, we call it the communication day among the family members, and of course together with their professional managers and team. And then and lastly, I think we talk about integrity. I think this is the most important of all when we talk about businesses. 就好像我们说做老板也要做人呐。OK， 这个做人不单单是对我们的 supplier， 对我们的 customer， 我们也要对我们的员工，对我们的团队 ，right， 我们也要做好老板，我们也要懂得做人。OK，then the fourth one, I think Dennis raised this up. How do we redefine our company structure in order to improve the chance of success? So I think we learned that we need to have some sort of roadmap, okay, with some sort of budgeting. All right, like for example, we can actually look for CS for certain international trade opportunity because he travel around the world. All right, and then like for example, Jay actually has got some cloud accounting services or advisory, which I think he's now working on, and he's now actually work closely with his Australian friends and all that. And I think this is very good. And being a second generation, he's also tried to be entrepreneur and probably fulfilling his dream. Okay, and this is another resources that we can all embark. And of course, Dennis is someone who helps corporate to resolve HR issues. All right, putting the right person at the right place and getting the professional people to manage to fill in the gap. Right, and of course, not forgetting our Sifu. Kenneth has been helping so many I would say corporate, and not only corporates but corporates company secretary as well, because we have questions. We always post our questions and query to Kenneth, and probably Kenneth can share with us his experience and solution, and then that's how we get things done. All right, so that is what we call having an allocated budget to get in the proper person or the professionals to fill in the gap to resolve certain challenges. All right. Then second one, we talk about contractual issues, the restructuring of documents. All right. Then we talk about measurement of performance, as what we mentioned just now, the KPI. And then the fourth one will be we would like to have the system that we're going to implement into our so-called management monitoring system to avoid discretionary, or we call it the preferential treatment for family members. Then if you can avoid this, then you create a very fair, or rather a very so-called harmonious environment for everyone. And then the fifth one, with the most important one, which we talk about rewarding talents fairly with highly scientific means of appraisal methods. When I mention scientific means, we need to have measurement. We need to have measurement whereby we may need to deploy certain AI or certain software, like what Kenneth mentioned about the software or the hardware part. Having to actually get things done in a more systematic way and on a justifiable basis. So I think that is a sharing which I think I just want to quickly sum up. Sorry if I speak too quickly. If you can play back, then you slow down 0.9 speed. then the speed will be a bit slower. But anyway, I think today has been a very, very we call it enlightening, and of course great learning as opportunity with Kenneth, and I'm actually very honored to have everyone here. So probably Kenneth, our Sifu, would you like to wrap up our final 1 minute here to actually give us some encouragement or advice to all our second generation or of course our first gen also, and see how can a family succession plan be moved forward from now, especially this MCO, this post MCO. All right, what can they do, or what can they do together to ensure this transitional period is happy, is pleasant, and it's going to be or we call it, it's going to bring the whole legacy to a greater height. Yeah, thank you, Henan.
Yeah, I think just to wrap it up, I guess the firstly I just need to express my appreciation to the four of you to invite me here. And of course, I think I also look forward to, let's say, we build up on this session to another session whereby we go into a little bit more detail so that I think the audience can at least digest what we can, try to achieve. And then more questions will be forthcoming. Because
Yeah.
today we're setting the platform first. But
Yes.
the next session probably will be going into a little bit more detail, more practical steps to undertake. So, but nevertheless, just to sum it up, whether you're the first generation or the second generation, I think we now realize, especially through this COVID-19 pandemic, that you can never be in a comfort zone. To me, as a secretary, since I started on my own from 1990 until now, I've seen clients going down under. I've seen clients come up, also go under. I've seen clients manage to sustain, to build up, and continue. What does that remind me of? Change. Change is always around us, is always unavoidable. There is always change. But whether you're first generation or second generation, recognize that you can never be in a comfort zone. But I'm not telling anybody to just, work like a donkey and then work without rest. Then of course you are no better than a donkey as well, isn't it? We cannot have that kind of attitude. Therefore, when I say recognize change, never be comfortable with what you have achieved. You must always be ready to think that my whatever I built up can be just overturned upside down the next day. So therefore, that is the value system that we must be prepared for. Change will come. Change is unavoidable. But let's recognize that if change comes, I'm ready. My attitude is ready. Not just about the resources being there, That means like what our mother have been teaching us. I always recall my mother teaching me, son, my mother taught me, always be ready with enough firewood when there's rainy day. Because my mother came from small town, in those old days, you don't have gas, you don't have charcoal, You actually go to rubber estates or rubber plantation, pick up all those pieces of branches and wood to build fire to do cooking, boil water and whatnot. So I always recall her telling me that always build up your so-called fire sticks when it to be ready for rainy day. Now that's just the hardware part, but I always try to distinguish. You must have your saving, but at the same time, your attitude is also very important. You must recognize there's change, but your attitude must be ready for change. Don't ever think that life, I'm so comfortable. I don't bother. I got saving in my bank account. But when the big change come and affect your business, you're not ready in terms of attitude. That means you never teach your employee, the people around you, that change may come one day. Let's never be comfortable. Let's always be competitive. Let's always try to be creative. Never think that today we are successful. We don't need to do anything more. Customer will come to us. No, there's the wrong attitude. The attitude must always be ready for change as well. So that's what I will sum up for what our discussion we have today. Yeah.
Wow, fantastic. I think it's out of this world already. Okay, we are all motivated. So today, we are now actually next day, this Sunday morning, all right, Sunday morning, and CS is about 2:30 in the morning. So fantastic. All right, thank you, Kenneth, for offering to come back to this show again. All right, maybe we can pick another topic, which I think probably more detailed and in depth. Yeah, I'm sure that there will be more audience who would like to learn from you from this coming session. But anyway, thank you so much for those friends who are online. I think there are still about 60 over 70 of us. Thank you so much for the support, and I hope today has been a very I would say a very special Saturday night and Sunday morning. Okay, so so I think thanks Kenneth, thanks everyone. I think we will catch up again. All right, so we're going to end this this session today, and take care everyone. Stay healthy. All right, cheers. All right, cheers.
Cheers.